Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topic today is coming true. I think I see the American, specifically Trump, angering the bear, and I also see the startings of the internal revolution getting very, very close. So we're going to talk about that. Now, before I go to the next slide, let me tell you what happened. God spoke to me last night, woke me up at 2:19 this morning. Now, if you've been full-time with the Lord, you know that He doesn't have to speak to you in an audible voice. He doesn't have to send an angel. He doesn't have to give you a dream. If He wants to speak to you, He's got a lot of different ways to speak to you. So I woke up and I knew here. I knew He was talking to me, and He was telling me that Prophecy Club is in serious financial trouble. And I'm trying not to be emotional here. So I got up and I went to my prayer closet, and I've determined not to beg God for money. I made a deal with Him. I'll do my part because I know He's going to do His part. So when He said in my heart that Prophecy Club's in financial trouble, He was basically saying that I need to get to work. I need to make some changes because He's doing His part. Of course, He always does His part. So if we're in trouble, it means I'm not doing my part. And probably what He's talking about is I need to come up with a plan so that we are supported month in, month out, not emergency to emergency. Now, we talked about $9.90 a month, but that didn't work out. Just not enough people at $9.90 a month. So I guess we need either more people or more per donation. And I'd like to ask for, like $50, but I don't know if people can support that. I don't know. But I know that it needs to be in some kind of a monthly deal. So here's what I did. I got up this morning, and the very first email was from this guy. Now, I've covered his email or his email and also his name up. But what I said is probably something that everybody should read. So as you can see, it was 9:17 this morning, and I emailed him, and I said, Frank, thank you for your monthly gift of $1,000 for several years. He's been sending $1,000 a month. I know this sounds crazy, but I think you'll understand. As you know, since Trump got in office, it is going to fix everything. Our sponsors and donations have dropped. Last night, the Lord spoke to my heart, told me Prophecy Club was in serious financial trouble, which I already knew. But what He was saying is, don't count on me, as in God, to fix your problems, Stan. You need to get to work bringing in the needed support. So I spent the next 45 minutes on my face praying. Leslie caught me this morning praying in my closet, literally. This time it was in my closet, with my face in my hands. I was near crying, and I was talking to the Lord. She wanted to know what was wrong. If I don't read this, I'm not going to be able to say it. She wanted to know what was wrong, because I get down very, very seldom. I told her I'm tired. I'm tired of losing. I mean, it's what it feels like, okay? I'm tired of the fight to tell people, to warn people, people that don't want to hear what I'm saying. They don't want to know what is coming. She suggested that I just go take a walk or something. Well, frankly, I don't, and I still don't. I didn't then, I don't still know what to do. That has been my prayer since 2:19 this morning. What do I do now? The answer is I don't exactly know. Then I got this email from our office for your gift. I thought perhaps you could help even more in this time of need. Now, frankly, I don't like asking, and I know you're really, really tired of me asking for help. And the only way I know out of it is to set up some kind of a thing I don't know how to do. I don't like asking for money. I don't know how to go about this. But somehow we need to set up, it's called Prophecy Club. Okay, normally you join a club. I've thought many times, I never have done it, but maybe what I need to ask people to do is to become members of the club. And I don't know, set up some kind of scale for people to join the club. All I know is right now, I very good possibility we will go into the red. I mean, like, car payments go late, house payment goes late, things like that, if we don't get some help. Because it used to be that everything was okay. I'm just telling you right now, everything is not okay. So if God has blessed you and you can help us, now would be a really, really good time. Okay, into what I have to say today. Prophecy Healing Deliverance Conference starting in, 2-3 days? This Thursday, September 11 to 14. If you've not signed up, love to have you come. We have 6 awesome talks from, actually 3 different sets of ministers at our church. Now, as far as me, I have not talked. This is almost all new information, and I'm going to be talking on the dangers of AI. And frankly, I didn't know. I thought, yeah, okay, no big deal. Oh, yeah, it is a big deal. So once I started doing the research, and by the way, thank you for your emails, because I got some emails out there that opened my eyes. Emails that showed me that AI, artificial intelligence, or alien intelligence, we're talking about the biggest, even bigger than what cell phones have done to the world. We're talking about the greatest change in human history is going to take place, concluding it'll be in place in the next 5 years, but some of it is already being put in place, already has been in place, but in the next year or so, a lot of it. I mean, like they're talking 2026 by a lot of it. And I'm about to make a startling statement that I'm going to back up. Most all people on the planet, especially the high-tech jobs, most of them will lose their jobs in the next 5 years. Now, I know, you're saying, no, not me, it won't happen. Well, you don't understand. If you understood what was coming, you'd be saying, oh my goodness, we're in trouble. Yes, we are in trouble. Okay, on to the next thing. I want to talk briefly about my book. Why? Because frankly, we're needing some help, and some people don't like to give, but maybe they'll order our books. So I think it is a supernatural book right here. I think it's a supernatural book, Secret Door to Understand Bible Prophecy. I had already written the book. As I recall, it was already been printed like 30 days. So one of our congregation members brings this guy in, wants to come and minister to us, says he gives personal prophecy. So I said, okay, give me a personal prophecy. Here's what he said, part of it. He says, we're going to reveal an open vision to you concerning the message of the end time. There's a lock I've put over a word in the book of Revelation I'm going to open to you. The message will come out. It will not be popular, but you have the witness of the Spirit, and the people have put this, to the people that I have put this in your spirit and your being. It will turn many books written on the end time message into obsolete books. That's this book. For new light is being shown upon your heart as a chosen vessel of mine to put the puzzles together. Now, what I recommend you do is get a couple of things. In order to get this book, if you watch Prophecy Club on even an occasional basis, you are a watchman. Nobody could stand to watch this ministry for very long if they're not already called to be a watchman. So I recommend you order a watchman's package, which is 2-foot big, 2-foot by 3-foot color charts. They're designed for you to be teaching Bible prophecy in like your Bible study or maybe a small church. Secondly, is you get 5 copies of my book, Secret Door to Understand Bible Prophecy. You also get 5 DVDs of me teaching through Revelation, and you get this. This is where I wrote out the book of Revelation. I wrote it out in my handwriting. I didn't think I'd be offering like this. I mean, I knew I couldn't learn it just by looking at the black ink on white paper. So I wrote it out, all of this, and you get a copy of this. You also get all of this valued at $355 for a gift of $200. And yeah, it would help us a whole lot if a whole lot of people were to order it, and it's also good for you. Now, if you can't get the whole thing, at least get this. It comes, and I've got a shrink wrap set. I could reach and pull it up for you, but this is a set of 5 of these books, Secret Door to Understand Bible Prophecy. One's for $20, but don't do that. 5 for $35 or 10 for $60, so you can hand them around. Now, in the, I don't know, I've memorized the book of Revelation 2017. Since then, we've sold over 15,000 copies. And to this date, there's not one person, not one email that said, that emailed me and said, boy, you got a hole in your head, you cracked. No complaints. Everybody loves the book. So I'd recommend you get the book. The very best deal is this one. This is where you get a set. How pre-trib one on the left, you get a shrink wrap set of 10, Daniel shrink wrap set of 10, shrink wrap sets of 5, mark of this miss the mark, shrink wrap set of 10, shrink wrap set of 5, total 40 books. Sets, 5 sets, each set is shrink wrapped, 40 books valued at $800 for a gift of $100. And again, frankly, that'll help us too. And you get all of it at prophecyclub.com. Okay, so now let's get into the program I want to bring to you today. Right now, this is what I get in praying about what I should say on the program today. I think that the world is happy. I think they think that Trump is going to fix everything. I see Trump about to anger the Russian bear, preparing their heart to attack America. He's talking about more sanctions. I see the state governors and city mayors angry at Trump's idea of sending troops in to curb the crime, moving us toward the internal revolution. There's protest almost everywhere. Matter of fact, there's been a protest going on up in Portland every weekend for, I don't know, several years. I see Trump trying to remove the criminals, but on the other side of that, I also see corrupt federal governments or federal judges refusing to allow criminals to be deported. Corrupt judges releasing criminals to create more crimes, trying to destroy our Christian nation, or what's left of it. Cities refusing to support police, releasing criminals back into society. Now, let me show you some articles that prove what I'm talking about. This is, in my opinion, some of the early steps in starting the internal revolution. Remember that Dmitry was told the fall of America will start with an internal revolution in America started by the communists. Headline, Trump takes aim at Chicago, warns of Chicopolis, if I'm saying that right. Chipocalypse now. And the mayor and the governor are fighting him, saying, don't come. They're getting in front of you've seen it, into the cameras. Don't come. We don't need you. So we're seeing already big steps. Look, I mean, he could go into Chicago or Baltimore or LA or some of these other places in the next few days, especially if he starts the massive arrests, which we know is coming. If he starts the massive arrests, we could see the internal revolution start. And then once that starts, we don't know how long it's going to be before the Russians attack. But my point is, as we're making the Russians angry, we're also seeing the internal revolution start. I should say this way, they're coming together. The internal revolution is starting. We're angering the Russians. Do you see those two things coming together? I do. High Court backs Trump on aggressive immigration raids. Okay. So if you look at the last phrase down here, it says Trump administration's actions likely violated the U.S. Constitution's Fourth Amendment protection against unreasonable searches and seizures. So we have 3 of the liberal court justices openly saying that him sending troops into these cities is against the Constitution. That's enough to make a lot of people in America very, very angry at Trump and the federal government. Maybe angry enough to where they'll say, I'm fed up with this, and they'll pick up shooting irons. And it's not just pitchforks, it's shooting irons, and all of a sudden we are in an internal revolution. High Court backs Trump on aggressive immigration raids. Do you see that starting an internal revolution? Next. White House asks Supreme Court to back freezing up to $430 billion of free foreign aid. Who in their right mind would want to send $430 billion outside of America when we're in such straits financially? But again, if their objective is to make this a communist nation, if their objective is to kill America, the Christian nation, then that's exactly what they would do. My point is, we are a nation divided. United we stand, divided we fall. Remember that phrase? The request comes after U.S. Appeals Court Friday declined a lower court ruling that said the Trump administration cannot unilaterally cut billions of dollars of foreign aid authorized by Congress. Trump vowed on the campaign trail to do exactly that. In other words, there's real people in high places that are fighting against other real people in high places. Internal revolution. There's more. Now let's look at the other side of it, angering the bear. News or economic pressure could bring Russia to negotiating table, Besant says. He says, okay, so we start bringing this pressure, and it's going to make Putin and the Russians come to the table. But that's not what Michael Snyder was told. Remember him? So this is back in February. Michael said this is the most powerful, the scariest dream he'd ever had. He woke up, and God was screaming at him in an audible voice, saying we better get to praying that Trump does not treat Russia the way he has treated the other New York people in business transactions, because they're not going to bend the knee. They're not going to go along. The article says U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said that additional economic pressure on the United States and Europe could prompt the Russian Vladimir Putin to enter peace talks with the Ukraine. I disagree. And the prophecies disagree. The prophecies say you better take care with the bear. The prophecies say you better be kind to the bear, because the bear knows, even if Trump doesn't know. My guess is some of whoever's talking to him, telling him about our military might, is telling him, oh yeah, we can defeat anybody. That's what he keeps saying. Well, that's not what the bear says. The bear says we have hypersonic missiles. They've already proved that they can get through Israel's defenses, and you know Israel has at least, if not better, defenses than America has. So Russia has already proven their hypersonic missiles can get through our defenses, if we have any. But if you have submarines parked on our beaches, like like Henry Gruber was shown, and it's 60 seconds from launch to detonation, who can stop that? Okay, who can stop that? I don't know. My point is, we are getting close to the time when Russia, again, two things are coming together. We're angering the Russian bear, internal revolution starting. Russian economy will be in full collapse, and that will bring President Putin to the table. No, it won't. It will make Putin decide to go ahead and attack America. Prepared to increase pressure on Russia? That's what Trump is saying he's going to do. On to the next one. Trump ready for second stage of sanctions on Russia. He is ready to move to the second stage of sanctioning Russia. In other words, he's about to make the Russian bear angry. Remarks suggesting that he is closer ramping up sanctions against Moscow or its oil buyers. So if he doesn't put more sanctions on Russia, and he will, but even if he didn't, he's basically cutting off. See, Russia is not a diverse economy. I mean, I'm not an expert on this, but you've been hearing the same thing I've been hearing all my life. Most of Russia's wealth comes from their oil. So we start cutting off their oil supply by telling India that we're going to put a big sanction on you. We're going to put a big tariff on you if you keep buying Russian oil. Say the same thing to China, and all of a sudden, Russia can't sell as much of their oil, and they start going into a financial pinch. Look, they've already got their military built. They don't have to count on any money to get their military built. They don't have to count on the money to get more nuclear weapons built. I believe that right now, Russia has the submarines, the nuclear weapons, the hypersonic weapons, everything they need to take America out anytime God will let them. And the only thing that's holding them back is the hand of God. Now, my point is, I do not know when Russia is going to attack and destroy America. I believe that it is, matter of fact, I'm about to write I've written, I'm about to print my new book called The Pentecost Rapture of the Bride. The Pentecost Rapture of the Bride. And my close few friends that have seen it said it is awesome. And they said no one has seen this kind of information. Get rid of my cell phone here. No one has seen this rapture like this. Well, if that's true, that's about 4 months before Armageddon. That's when Russia attacks. In other words, when the bombs come down, we go up. I've talked about that several times. Now, where are we with that? Well, I think you can tell by AI, and I haven't talked to you about that AI and things I've discovered on AI, but it's some big things. I'm going to say, see, the AI is really about the mark of the beast. And I don't believe that the mark of the beast starts at the first of the tribulation, but I do believe the AI stuff has already started. So, based upon what I see in the AI, I'm going to say we're 1 or 2 years away from the start of the tribulation, but we could be 1 or 2 years away from the middle of the tribulation. Now, what does that mean? It means that, and I'm just guessing, okay, God's not told me, but it could be that the fall of America could be, I don't want to believe it, it could be, sometimes I look at it a year or two. I hope and think it's more like 4 or 5, but I can't guarantee that. My point is, I'm seeing the bear getting angry. At the same time, I'm seeing internal revolutions starting in America, and those paths are crossing and getting closer to coming together at the same time. And that's part of the prophecy. Let me go on. More. Remember, part of the prophecy, Shane Warren was told that the first thing was a storm, a financial storm hitting America. Okay, here it is. Auto debt crisis looming. The car market bubble is bursting. Subprime auto loan delinquency rates have now surpassed 5% for the first time in history. We're hearing those words for the first time in history in a lot of ways regarding our financial situation. The 60-day delinquency rate for subprime auto loans has more than doubled over the last 3 years. Delinquency rates are now 1.5 percentage points above the 2008 financial crisis peak. In other words, we're already past what caused the last financial crisis. What I'm saying is, so there's three things. We're getting close to an internal revolution, getting close to angering the Russians, and we're getting close to a financial collapse with the dollar. Those are all part of the picture of the fall of America. But a lot of people think, we don't need Prophecy Club anymore. Trump's going to fix everything. Well, Trump can't fix everything. If Trump really wanted to fix everything, what he needs to do is tell everybody to start going back to church. He needs to start asking everybody to stop sinning, repent, turn to Jesus. And he ain't going to do that. But that's what we really need, and you know it. Global market stands on the brink of the largest economic crisis in history. Okay, this is not the only one saying that. There's a lot of places out there saying, world-renowned financial guru, the global market stands on the brink of the largest economic fall. At present, U.S. stock prices have reached absorbent levels, record based upon average indicators surpassing the levels of even the most famous bubbles. The Great Depression of 29, the pre-crisis peak of 65, and the dot-com crash of 99. Currently, what they're saying is we're past. Again, I'm not a financial expert. I'm not giving you financial advice. I do not know how the stock market has gone so high. I don't believe it's an accident. I don't believe that it operates outside of Moloch. I think that there's evil people in high places that control it. And in my opinion, it is way, way, way beyond too high. And what they do is they raise it really, really high till a bunch of the little guys get in, and then they crash it. And they crash it in such a way to where their people get their pockets lined, and the average guy out there, the Christian, loses their wealth. That's what happened in 29. That's what's happened several times. Matter of fact, that's kind of been the norm with the way the stock market works. So it's a direct threat to global financial stability, fall of the dollar. See those three things? Those three things tell me we're getting really, really close. Here's another one. This is just this morning. Gold and silver are skyrocketing. Now, what does that mean? They say that in Abraham Lincoln's day, one ounce gold coin would buy you a nice suit of clothes. I didn't say street clothes. I mean a nice suit of clothes. Today, if you go buy a nice suit of clothes, it costs you around $3,000, $3,500. In other words, the price of gold has not gone up or down, even though they're digging more of it out of the ground. Surprise, surprise. Same thing with silver. Now, a lot of people say silver is really, really, really undervalued. For one, they aren't finding more silver mines. I know Trump is looking for them really hard right now in America, and hopefully they'll find them. But one of the things that people haven't counted on is Tesla has come up with a new silver ion battery. It's making 500,000 a day. And of course, that runs on, guess what? Silver. That means the price of silver is about to be going up. Remember, Shane Warren said he heard the audible voice of God say that silver is going to skyrocket far more than gold. So gold is going up, silver is going up. Do you see all the leading indicators? We don't have to be prophecy students to know that the dollar is in trouble. There's an old saying that says, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Okay, so they want to bring in a new digital currency. That's the whole point of the Genius Act just passing, here in the last 30 days? So they're trying to bring in a new financial order that is not based upon metals. It's not based upon the dollar. Instead, it's digital. How close are we? We're getting real close. U.S. canceled funding for East Europe defense. Okay, so Trump is now in process of pulling out of NATO, it appears. Well, that kind of fits with everything else. Here's another one. NATO is officially enter the war with Russia. So it appears to me that what NATO is saying, we're going to go over and attack or protect Ukraine, get into war with Russia, and hopefully Trump is saying, well, if you're going to do that, you do it alone. I'm not going to be part of it because we don't want to be part of attacking Russia. We don't want to be part of angering Russia. We don't want to do that. Mexico president warns the United States against military action, and guess what we're doing? We are attacking Mexican cartels. Just like Mexico says, we've crossed the red line. I think that while I think Trump is trying to do a lot of good things, just because you're trying, have you ever tried to do something right to discover it turned out wrong, you made the wrong decision? I think a lot of that's happening with Trump. I think he's trying to make the right decision, trying to fix things, but when you've got as many sins on your nation as America has on us, and God's hand is against you, it's hard to be blessed when the Lord of the universe has decided to take you down. So those kind of things are happening. These prophecies are getting very, very close to happening. If you want to be on the end of making money, then you might want to call prophecyclubcrypto.com or actually go to it or call that number in the bottom right corner. Ask them about crypto if you're in the position where you can make money.